My job role is a manufacturing engineer, and we make rocket parts, basically. The company makes pressure sensors, so any engine that you make, whether it's in a car, a plane, or whatever, they'll need some sort of way to see what's going on inside the engine, what the fuel is doing. For a plane engine, for example, the inlet conditions, so like what the nature of the air coming in is and how it's going to interact with the rest of the system, right? For rockets specifically, like fuel pressure is huge because you need a lot of fuel going through the system to get the thrust to get off. So it's incredibly important. What I do is I help make sure every single one of those gets made perfectly. We're trying to keep everybody safe. So my interest in space really started with like documentaries as a child. I used to watch a lot of like Brian Cox. He was telling me I was made of space dust. I was amazed. And a little bit later on in my life, I had always been into like these constructible toys like Legos and stuff, but Ego must have done like an orrery, and I built up like two of them. One was a Tellurian and one was an orrery. And I was just amazed when I was reading through the magazines and building them up. Just things like Jupiter's eye, like it's a persistent hurricane, like why doesn't it stop? I was blown away as a child. So I heard about the space engineering course at first. They came to my school, one of their space engineers, their students, they came in and started speaking to us about this course and they made it sound brilliant. So I just was all for it from then, worked really hard in the subjects I needed to get in. It was 2 A-levels mixed with a B.Tech, and it was run by the National Space Academy, like in association. It was really with Loughborough College though. I went straight into a master's in mechanical engineering after this space engineering course. They led on really well because most of my teaching in the space engineering course was in a space context. So getting onto an engineering course and really getting down the fundamentals of engineering was amazing to me. So how this works is you do 2 years, do a placement, then finish your 2 years. And I decided, well, I really want to try and travel with my placement instead of just doing something within the UK. So I chose Singapore. It was just a feeling I had. And my school at the time, Wolfson, was very supportive with it. So they put me in contact with a couple companies they knew, and I chose one and flew out. The company that I was working for is called Makino. They make machines that make machines. So it's like engineering of engineering kind of thing. Phenomenal experience. The kind of technical expertise there was top notch. I think it really grounded me in what engineers really do, because previous to that I thought, we fix things, but that's really a technician's role. And I began to realize, no, we're more direct technicians to do certain work and make sure nothing goes wrong, sort of thing. So it was really eye-opening in that way. My main role was to try and help that company visualize and simulate their machines in the computer so that like a customer could come put some of their code in to make their parts and they could see it happening, sort of thing. So it was very engineering, heavy. That experience directly relates to the job role now that I do, manufacturing engineer. At uni, I did a lot of courses in robotics, but something that really interested me there was our course on instrumentation. And I just liked seeing all of the physics and maths that I'd learned come together in something very practical, because a lot of the physics that you learn, they're just models, as in they're just equations that describe one specific thing, but they never really come together like they do in an instrumentation course. So when I saw that this company makes sensors, I was really intrigued. A typical day for me, it looks like a lot of problems. So we go down to the shop floor, me and my team, because I'm with a team of manufacturing engineers, and we work closely with the design engineers for these same sensors, right? Just because you tell somebody to make something a particular way doesn't mean they're going to make it that particular way. So I have to make sure that things can't go wrong. So a lot of my role involves designing tools, tweaking procedures to make sure people are clear on the instructions. And then if there are any kind of issues with the processes that we use, then it's my responsibility to try and get that back up and running. So yeah, why do I love what I do? It's really nice that my degree actually translates to the things I do now. So a lot of an engineering degree has to do with designing products and making particular drawings and doing particular calculations to make sure everything is safe. And I actually get to do that at my job. So these tools, they do simple things, but they have some intricacies to them, right? So they need to be made safe. All the calculations need to be there so that if anything does go wrong or if we need to improve them in any way, it's quite obvious how to and why decisions were made in the first place. I really don't think you need to worry about any discrimination in the engineering industry. As long as you do good work and you're personable and you're really looking to solve problems, discrimination isn't something I've had to deal with. In my career, honestly, never. My advice to secondary school students, I'll speak to me, like young me, do your homework, please. Every tutorial you get, every homework sheet you get, please do it, because you can only ever follow the interests that people have deemed you're good at. So you really do need to perform well. If you're really interested in space, go above and beyond. Read books outside of your curriculum. Of course, keep to your curriculum, keep the results coming, but read a little bit more broadly, get a little bit more context for what you're doing, see how people really make plane parts, rocket parts, these things, like really get to know that, and you'll fly, you'll soar.